Last year, Colonia finished at 6-2-1, led by their bruising fullback, Don Ferraro. One of their losses was to their arch rivals from John F. Kennedy High School. Eric Jefferson punched one across as the Mustangs edged Colonia 13-6. Today, TV3 Sports presents Crosstown Rivals as Colonia faces JFK in a Greater Middlesex Conference White Division clash. On a fall Saturday afternoon, there's no place else to be but at a high school football game. And today, TV3 Sports presents a crosstown rivalry as from Bartha Stadium, John F. Kennedy High School hosts the Colonia Patriots. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Matt Laughlin. Along with me, Al Reynoso. And Al, this is a rivalry we have loved to televise in the past because when these two schools get together, they really bang heads.
Well, Matt, you know, it's a inter-town rivalry. It's two schools in the same town. And these kids know each other from Little League baseball and Pop Warner football, and they come out here to really bang each other. We watched the freshman game on Friday afternoon, and they were hitting, and we expect big hitting going on this afternoon.
John F. Kennedy has installed the triple option wishbone offense this year. Now, traditionally, they have been an option offense running the veer. This year, they took it one step extra, and they went to the wishbone. So that puts a lot of pressure on Colonia. They're seeing a different look offensively from JFK than they've been used to in the past. One man in particular who receives a lot of attention on the defensive side of things because of his responsibilities is Dave Ronk.
Well, Dave Ronk is going to play that defensive tackle on the left side of the Colonia defense against the right side of Kennedy's offense, and he has got to stop the handoff to the fullback on every single play. If he doesn't get across and make that play, then Kennedy will run wild this afternoon.
Well, the fullback for John F. Kennedy High School is a big bruising back at 6'2", 212 pounds, Howie man, and he's going to get hit regardless of whether or not he has the ball.
Well, on every snap of the football for Kennedy, they're going to fake to the fullback, and somebody from Colonia has to search him, has to bang him, has to make sure he doesn't have it, and if he does have it, has to drop him right there at the line of scrimmage. So he has to be not only physically able, but mentally able to take a pop every time they hike the ball at Kennedy.
Now, if you like a lot of points, this may not be the kind of game you want to watch. We think from many standpoints it is. The rivalry, the hard-hitting, the excitement of a traditional matchup that dates back to 1967. But these two teams, when they hook up, generally don't score a lot of points. It's a defensive type of game.
It has been in the past, Matt, but as you said, the wishbone offense, if they can find that seam, and we'll show the audience what the seam is like, the blocking patterns. If they can find that seam, there's 20 and 30 yards every time they hike the ball and get it up there.
All right, John F. Kennedy High School squaring off against Colonia. We'll be back to Bartha Stadium right after this. A beautiful fall afternoon and a gorgeous day for high school football. Al, let's check out the Kennedy wishbone offense, which we will see in operation this afternoon.
Well, there's the basic wishbone, Matt. The split end to the left, tight end to the right, the quarterback Quinones, man the fullback about 2 yards behind him, and the two halfbacks lining up on the outside foot of the offensive guard. You see Colonia in their basic 52 defense. They look like they're going to play an invert defense this afternoon. Now here's the first option off the wishbone. The quarterback will give it to man. He'll put a light squeeze on the ball and approach the double team block of the guard in the center on the nose guard and the down block of the tackle on the linebacker. He'll look at the defensive tackle. That'll be Ronk. If Ronk comes across the line of scrimmage, then man will just continue with the ball right up the seam that's created by those double team blocks down on the defenders on the inside. Now the second option off of that is if the tackle bites down on the fullback fake, then Quinones will pull it out and approach the end. When the end comes across the line of scrimmage or holds his ground, he'll just run up the seam that's created by the block of Galante, the tight end, on the safety, and the kick-out block over there of Burton on the cornerback. The quarterback will find that seam and run right up the line, getting a lot of yardage deep into the secondary. The third option is the pitch out. After faking to the fullback and approaching the end, if the end crashes down and plays Quinones, the quarterback, he'll pitch it back to Jefferson, and you'll notice Jefferson will look for the block of Burton and find that sideline seam and get a lot of yardage up the side. Those are the three running options. And finally, when they want to and they think they've got the safety conditioned, they'll fake the fullback, they'll approach the end, and instead of pitching, Quinones will drop straight back and find Galante, who's been blocking that safety all day, cutting for the flag and looking for that long pass. Galante's the leading receiver with 7 pass receptions so far this season. Those are the options and a lot of things to worry about for Colonia.
And there's Dave Ronk, the defensive tackle who had so much pressure on him as Kennedy runs the wishbone offense.
Ronk is going to have to search the fullback every single play. He's going to have to bang man and make sure that man doesn't have the ball. And if man does have the ball, he's going to have to try to drop him before they can get 3 or 4 yards. The wishbone offense really just wants to get 3 or 4 yards a clip, because if it's only 3 yards a clip, it's 4th and 1, and they're conditioned to really, really run the ball this afternoon.
Kennedy will receive the opening kickoff. Cedric Burton and Glenn Bajer back standing at the 15-yard line to receive the kickoff from Nick Shermetta. And Bajer will handle it at the 12-yard line. And he gets across the 25-yard line where Kennedy will take over. Well, let's check Colonia's defensive alignment against the wishbone and who has the pressure and who'll be doing the moving.
Okay, as we look at it here, we're looking from the Kennedy perspective, but the defense for Colonia, you'll see the tackle has to come down and crash in on the fullback. The end has to come crashing down on the quarterback, and they have to force that runner to run right up that seam that they're creating.
The first handoff goes to Mann. Mann going across the 30-yard line, a gain of about 4 on the play. Kennedy's offensive line, Schoenig, McDermott, Billings, Fansera, and Moyer. Their backs and receivers, Jefferson, Burton, Mann, Bajer, and Galante, the tight end. And the quarterback, Rick Quinones. Quinones, a junior, has not thrown all that many passes, has struggled a little bit in the passing game. Mann getting the call once again, and Mann is awfully close to a first down. Colonia's defensive line, Ferraro, Roncalatrella, Martino, and Young. The linebackers, Buglioli and McIntosh. And in the secondary, Cesny and Eichert, the corners, and Bennett and Dandridge, the safeties. So we will have a measurement here. Kennedy awfully close to picking up a first down. The officials for today's game, the referee is Charlie Bolser, the umpire Pete Kreutzberger, Alex Shipley is the head linesman, the line judge John Dennis, the back judge is Rocco Cafone, and the clock operator is Frank Viviano. Just short of picking up the first down, so it'll be 3rd and short. Though the wishbone offense can score a lot of points if they get those seams, Al, it's basically a ball control offense.
It sure is, Matt, and they run it twice to the fullback, 3 times to the fullback. Man, I think he's got the first down. That's really all they want to do. It's a cloud of dust offense when they go inside, but every once in a while they'll come out and they'll find a lot of room on the outside.
We're going to have another measurement. Mann coming into the game leads the team in rushing with 104 yards. He has yet to get into the end zone. One concern for Bob Lanigan, I'm sure, is that his team has coughed the ball up 6 times. Mann has fumbled 3 times, Quinones twice, and Burton once. That's also one of the problems with the triple option offense. That ball can pop free an awful lot. Well, Mann did pick up the first down, so Kennedy will maintain possession. We have played just about a minute. First quarter, Kennedy coming in at 2-1, looking to make it 3-1 following last year's 2-7 season. Bajer goes split to the far side, and it is Burton getting the call. The right halfback gets up to the 40-yard line. There's Bob Lanigan in his third year as head coach. His first year, very successful. They finished 8-2, went to the semifinal round of the Central Jersey Group 3 playoffs. Last year, the struggle at 2-7. Gain of about 2, 2nd down and 8. Here's the pitch, and there's the loose ball we told you about. And Ronk could not come up with it. Who's got it? And finally, Colonia falls on it at the 15-yard line. Coming up with it is Keith Cesny. So Cesny coming up from his cornerback position. The 5'10", 160-pound senior recovers the loose ball.
Here it is. It's on the pitch, Matt. There's a good fake to man. Now Quinones comes out, but see somebody's holding on to his arm, and he doesn't throw the ball well out there. They strip the pitch back, and now it's loose. And Colonia, instead of falling on it, tries to pick it up and run. And the ball continues to be loose. It's still loose. And they've recovered it deep in Kennedy territory, so we'll see Colonia on offense.
Nose of the ball resting on the 15. That's Sean Link moving in motion, and the handoff goes to Leonard Dandridge, and Dandridge is hit before he reaches the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss of about a yard on the play. Martino, Spinello, Colatrella, Carwan, and Ronk, the offensive line for the Patriots. Backs and receivers, Dandridge, Bellotti, Link, Myler, and Schneider. And the quarterback is also a junior, as is the Kennedy signal caller, Vinny Abeen, 16 for 42 on the year. Threw the ball well last week in a win over Monroe. Here's a pitch to Dandridge. He's a shifty runner. Finally, though, he is snowed under at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 3rd down and 11. A 4-man front for Kennedy. Vincent Volpe, Mike Steele, Tony Stoyanov, and Mike Galante. The linebackers, Ryan Lynch, Rich McGlynn, Jay McDermott, and Howie Mann. And in the secondary, Quinones, Burton, and Lenny Reyes.
Colonia in a passing situation. They've run 2 plays that took a long time to develop. And the Kennedy defense really pursued well and jammed them up.
Abeen to the air, pumps, and incomplete. But we do have a flag on the play. Dave Schneider was the intended receiver. He's the tight end. And let's check what the flag is all about. The Kennedy defense indicating that the penalty is against Colonia. So the question is, do you push them back, make it 4th and 11, and give them a field goal opportunity, or push it back and make it 3rd and long? It is refused. So it's a 4th down situation, 4th and 11, with the ball at the 16-yard line. And we have not seen the field goal kicker come on. And so Pat Barbado early on going for broke, and he's got to pick up 11 yards to keep the drive going.
Abeen had a receiver open that time. He pumped, and when he finally threw it, he threw it a little bit over the head and couldn't hook it up.
Rolling out, has room to run if he wants, fires it in and out of the hands of Sean Link. Link had it. Had he made the catch, would have had the 1st down, but Link lets it slip through his hands. Coming into the game, Link, the leading receiver on the Patriots.
And here we have the end zone camera picking up Abeen. He sees him, does a good job, delivers the ball well, right through his hands. You couldn't throw it any better. It was perfectly thrown. He had to throw it high. He couldn't throw it low because he had defenders there. And unfortunately for Colonia, they did not capitalize on that opportunity after the fumble recovery.
Link, a big target out there at 6'5", 200 pounds. So the Mustangs take over, and the pitch goes to Jefferson. And Jefferson is hit in the backfield. Andre McIntosh, a 5'11" senior playing linebacker, making the hit. McIntosh, outstandingly quick linebacker. In fact, he'll see action at tailback. Missed the first game with a knee injury and most of the second game with that knee injury, but came back last week and played very well indeed. Fullback man getting the call, and right now the option has not caused any problems for Colonia.
Well, they have played it pretty soft now on that play. It looked like Martino was not covering the dive man. Martino was across looking at the quarterback, and the ball went right past him. So it looks like on one side they've got different assignments than on the other side. On the left side, it looks like Ronk comes down and crashes that fullback all the way and looks for the quarterback after that.
Colonia has a slight edge in this series with JFK, which started back in 1967. Kennedy won that game big, 41-0, the largest margin of any game. And since then, it's pretty much been a seesaw affair. Kennedy had the better of it in the early going, but it's been back and forth. Kennedy has won the last two meetings of these two teams. A 4th down and 5 situation. So John Moyer will come on to punt for the Mustangs. And back deep to receive the punt, Keith Cesney and Warren Bennett. They're standing at their own 40. Moyer averaging nearly 34 yards a punt coming into the game. His long, a 49-yarder. This is a high one, but short. And it takes about a 5-yard bounce and roll to the 45-yard line. So about a 34, 35-yard punt for John Moyer. That's just about his average.
Matt, we talked in the beginning that this has been traditionally a defensive struggle, and so far it looks defensive again. The offenses have sputtered. Now, we talked a lot about the Kennedy offense and a lot about the Colonia defense, but the Colonia offense has not shown very much ability to move the ball, and the Kennedy defense has looked very strong so far.
6 minutes and 19 seconds to play in the first quarter, and flags all over the place.
Looked like a procedure. Yes, it's a procedure penalty. Matt, they're not setting quick enough or long enough. They look like they come up to the line, and once they get there and the quarterback gets there, he doesn't set those that wide out, and they're getting procedure penalties. This is the second one. It's starting to hurt them. The first one hurt them on their attempt to capitalize on the fumble recovery, and now this drive, if it's going to be a drive, has got to overcome a 1st and 15 rather than a 1st and 10 situation.
Dandridge takes the pitch and has some room. Bounced out of bounds finally by Reyes coming up from the safety position, but Dandridge gets up to the 49-yard line. A 9-yard gain for Dandridge, who coming into the game had rushed for 176 yards, nearly 5 yards per carry.
It's a beautiful rendition of the off tackle. Look at the block there by Bellotti, and the down blocks by the end and tackle, and 5 yards, and maybe more if he had more open field. That was the short side of the field.
On 2nd down, they'll go to Dandridge again. He gets to midfield for a short pickup. Jay McDermott, strong side inside linebacker. Another underclassman, only a junior, made the stop.
Let's take a look at Dandridge here. Now, he is lined up so deep that he has to go almost 8 yards to get to the line of scrimmage, and that's one of the problems that I've had with this Colonia offense as I've seen it, is that they line up so deep that it's very long. It takes a long time for them to get to the line of scrimmage on the dive plays. On the off tackle, it's perfect alignment, but on the dives, too deep.
Abeen on the quarterback draw picks up a 1st down. It was 3rd and 5, and he picks up 7 down to the 43-yard line. They had just one man in the backfield. Abeen just stepped back and found a hole and plowed his way forward for 7.
Vinny Abeen, the 5'9", 140-pound junior quarterback, still probably a year away from being real great, but he's learning and doing very, very well, and has been leading this team now, and this is a drive.
Here's McIntosh, and he is popped. Howie Mann comes up from the linebacker spot to put the hit on McIntosh. We told you we would see McIntosh in at tailback, making his first appearance. He gets a rude awakening from number 23.
Well, what happened there was Bellotti didn't know who to block, and he blocked the second man to the outside. The rule is usually block the first man with a different color jersey closest to you, and he blocked the second man. the first man is the one that really creamed McIntosh on that handoff.
Loss of 3 on the play. Abeen looking way downfield for Warren. Bennett, and what a catch by Bennett, but now they call it incomplete. As he came down with it, the ball popped free, and it was ruled incomplete. But Bennett, stretching out to make the catch, almost came up with an outstanding play.
Look at the block there by number 61, Ronk, who cuts his man. And I think in the pros, this would have been a completed pass. Look at the catch. He has it, he pulls it in. Now when he hits the ground, it comes out. That's a reception in the pros. In high school, they don't want to see it that way. I don't know. I'd call that a reception and a good catch.
Bennett with 4 catches coming into the game, the second leading receiver on the club. It's 3rd and long. Pressure from the blind side. Abeen lofts it, and he has Cesny, but it's incomplete. Cesny had it, but it came out of his grasp. And so, thus far, the receivers have been open. If they start to hook up, big trouble for Kennedy. 3 passes now have worked well, but they've just been dropped.
Vinny Abeen has got to be thinking twice about this game. He's had 2 great passes right on the money and dropped. Actually, 3 drop passes that would have gone for long gains have been dropped by the Colonia receivers.
Joe Martino, the punter, sidewinds one off his foot. This may or may not get into the end zone, and what a beautiful job. Oh, boy, I thought Ronk had gotten it at the 1, and Ronk is complaining about it, but let's see what the call was. Initially, it was called a touchback, and now it looks like the official there marked the ball at the 1. No. It'll be brought out to the 20. Initially,
I'd like to see that again.
He had marked it down as a touchback. He waved the one arm from side to side, but he did throw what looked like a beanbag, which marks where he thinks the ball was down at the 1, but they call it a touchback. And so a big break for Kennedy. They would have been pinned against their own goal line, but instead the ball comes out to the 20-yard line. So Martino with a good punt, and Ronk doing a great job getting downfield. Movement, I think Martino jumped, and we may get an encroachment call on the defense.
Let's take a look. Martino 77. He comes across. Well, there was movement there by the left tackle, too.
And it will go against Kennedy. So Martino moving on the motion of the left side of the Kennedy line.
Looked like Vic Schoenig.
Let's take a look at it one more time.
Schoenig 79, right across from Martino. Well, I think Martino moved first, but Schoenig definitely did move.
It's possible, because of that angle, we can't tell that Martino moved first but did not break the plane, and then Schoenig moved, and that causing the penalty. But it's 1st and 15, and so far Colonia has wrapped up this running game. Man getting maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 14. The ball at the 16 with 3:35 to play in the opening quarter.
Now, one of the things about the wishbone, Matt, is that your players have got to be very patient. They know that they're going to run a cloud of dust offense, but eventually it's going to break out and open, and they cannot be impatient. They have to be patient. They have to believe in the offense, and they have to run it.
Quinones trying to cut inside for some yardage, picks up about 3 up to the 19-yard line. Mike Young making the stop.
Good fake by Quinones. He faked the fullback handoff, approached the end, threw his arm out and had the end move to the outside. And when he did, when Young moved outside, then he just turned it up inside and got himself a few yards.
Quinones has rushed for 82 yards this season. That total 3rd on the team, behind Mann and Eric Jefferson. Pass play, and it's incomplete. Looking for Galanti, and we had diagrammed that play earlier on our chalkboard, where Galanti goes down and blocks on the safety most of the time. But when the safety is run-oriented, when he concerns himself with the run, he sees it all the time. If he bites up, that play will be open. However, that time, They cannot hook it up. It's 4th and long and a punting situation. So Moyer will be on for his second punt, the first one going 34 yards.
Colonia defending pretty well against the wishbone so far.
Cesny takes it at the 47 of Colonia. And he brings it down to the 41-yard line. So Colonia will have good field position once again. They have dominated in the field position war, Al, but the scoreboard shows 0-0.
They sure have, Matt. Every time they've gotten the ball, they got it first on the fumble recovery. They got it second on the punt on about their own 46. Now they've got it again well into Kennedy territory, almost at about the 41-yard line of Kennedy. So let's see what they do. Tailback lined up very deep.
That's Dandridge. Spins away from one potential tackler, Howie Mann, but is hit for a loss on the play. Now the line of scrimmage, the 41, Mann was standing back at midfield, 9 yards deep.
Yeah, he's got to go a long way. And you'll see Bellotti doesn't hold this block very well, and that's one of the problems with the deep distance. You have to have your lineman hold the block a lot longer than if the back is real close to the line of scrimmage and he pops in there after the initial hit of the lineman. So by lining up very deep, they make it very difficult to go straight ahead.
Passing situation on 2nd and 12. Receivers are covered, and Abeen is tackled at the 47-yard line. Looked like it was Moyer. Nope, check that. It was Galante, along with Jay McDermott, who made the stop.
Abeen has a lot of time here, but nobody is in the short area. Everyone is deep, and there's a big open area.
Galante, triple team, spins away, and he's the man who makes the tackle.
Abeen tries to go to the outside. If he was going to run, he should have run up inside where they were kicking Galante to the outside.
Draw play to Dandridge, and it is sniffed out. Vinny Volpe, a 5'10 junior, playing the weak side end, sniffed out that draw play, and it is 4th and 19, and it's punt time for the Patriots, and Joe Martino will come on for his second punt of the day. Martino is the second string punter. Shermetta normally does the punting, but he's got a bad thigh bruise, and that snap goes way over Martino's head. And it is down at the 25-yard line. Though it was run in by Ryan Lynch, they will rule that the ball was down at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of the problems, Matt, when you have a tackle or a man who's big and not used to handling the football, like the specialty backs, like the specialists, like the quarterbacks and receivers. He has to be able to receive the snap in order to kick the ball. And here you see, well, it's already gone over his head, and he tried to recover it. He ran with it in one hand, and it came up in the air. They called it dead right here.
Lynch picked it up and scampered in for an apparent score, but the official right on it, saying it was down at the 25. And on that note, the first quarter comes to an end. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with second quarter action after this. A Mountain Valley Conference soccer encounter forthcoming on TV3. Johnson Regional High School traveling to Berkeley Heights to take on Governor Livingston. We'll show it to you 8:30 on Tuesday. Repeat it Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Great field position for the Mustangs. Best field position of the day by far. That was Ryan Lynch you saw. And here's a loose ball. And it goes over to the Patriots. Second fumble of the afternoon, and Colonia will have it at the 21-yard line.
Let's take a look
at first quarter statistics, and pretty much a defensive struggle. Turnovers through one quarter even. But a big turnover here to start the second quarter, and the second of the game for Kennedy. Mike Young, by the way, recovered that fumble. And Dandridge breaks out across the 25-yard line. So Dandridge showing good elusiveness, Al, and if he gets a step, he's going to take off. He'll come out of the ball game right now, and McIntosh will replace him. Also checking out is Nigel Myler, and he has been replaced by Warren Bennett at a wide receiver spot. Bennett will go to the far side of the field. McIntosh lines up behind Bellotti, the fullback. 2nd down and 4. And it is McIntosh, and I believe he has the first down. He's awfully close. We may get a measurement here.
He got stacked up right there at the 30-yard line. Looked like he crashed across for the first down. So they've come with 2 nice plays inside. They ran those inside plays off the lead block of Bellotti. They're giving the ball to the tailback, following the lead block of Bellotti on the linebacker. They're isolating the linebacker and letting the fullback knock him down, run the tailback right up behind him. He's not as deep, Matt. Look how deep he is now. He's only about 5 or 6 deep.
Quick hitter to Bellotti, and Bellotti gets up to the 34-yard line. Bellotti, 5'11", 200-pounder, also plays baseball for the Colonia Patriots.
Here's a surge of the line. Bellotti crashing right in there. Great body lean, good body lean by the lineman as they fire right across there, getting that kind of yardage. Mike Spinello, the guard, number 62, we saw really driving up in there.
2nd down and 7. A-Bean bootleg. Oh, and making a big pop is Reyes. The big hitter at safety comes up and wraps up A-Bean. Boy, he came flying from his safety position, the junior safety who started last year at cornerback, and with his hard-hitting abilities moved to safety to freelance a little bit more.
Say, Bean, I'm the keeper. It looks like a keeper all the way. He's holding the ball like a loaf of bread. Still has it in his hand. Finally tucks it close to his body. But that was a big hit for Kennedy to stop that play. Put him in a 3rd and about 6.
Pitch back to Dandridge, and he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Quinones coming up from the cornerback spot to make the tackle, and once again we will have a punting situation as the defenses have been very strong today. We told you earlier, if you like a high-scoring affair, this is not the kind of game to watch. We think you should stay tuned and watch it throughout because it has a lot of other factors going for it. But from a standpoint of a lot of points, you won't see it in all likelihood. Martino's punt high and short. And his touchdown at the 44-yard line. Again, Martino, the 2nd-string punter. There he goes off the field shaking his head. Shermetta, who kicked off to start the game, is the regular punter for Colonia, but he has, for most of the season, been working with a badly bruised thigh. And so they have not risked him really stretching out on the punting situations. 1st and 10. Good field position for the Mustangs. Incompleted pass. Looking for Burton coming out of the backfield.
You know, Matt, the punting game has been a big problem for Colonia. Last week they gave up a safety that may have even caused the game for them on a bad snap over the kicker's head. So they've got to resolve that problem if they're going to have any shot at winning this game and going any further and getting into the playoff picture.
Well, that was their first win of the year. They edged Monroe 6-5. Started off the season with consecutive losses to Piscataway and North Brunswick. They started the last 2 years that way. Last year they went 6-0-1 the rest of the way, just missing out on a playoff berth. Jefferson on the call, loses some, and Keith Cesny credited with the tackle.
Ray Ferrara came across there and got a good pop in at 5'9", 160-pound senior playing the left defensive end, number 83, crashed across there and got a good hit.
He's one of those players that you'll have in many programs, comes out of nowhere. You don't expect him to be able to make the contribution. It turns out he does. And from the second scrimmage on, he has been very strong for Colonia. Way downfield for Bajer, incomplete. Coverage on the play by Dandridge. He was step for step with Bajer. And on the incompleted pass, it'll be 4th down and a punt.
You see 83 right there, Ferrara, putting the pressure on. And he is...
Neither team has been able to move the ball. We are at Lewis M. Bartha Stadium. That's the home field of the Kennedy Mustangs. Floater, this should be picked off, and it is. Quinones is finally knocked out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Al, it looked like that ball slipped out of Abean's hands.
Well, he didn't have his feet set, Matt. He was leaning backwards, actually falling backwards when he threw the ball. He should have never thrown the ball without planting his feet. He didn't have a great deal of pressure, but he does get pressure. Now, look, nobody goes for the fake on that side. And you see, look at the way he threw the ball. He was actually falling backwards. Jimmy McDermott is the one who was in his face, and he just threw it up for grabs. That was anybody's ball. They picked it off, and they have great field position.
Prior to that interception, we had some technical difficulties. You did not miss much. Colonia unable to move the ball. And here's Mann, the fullback, blasting his way down to the 3-yard line. Those technical difficulties have been resolved. And Kennedy knocking on the doorstep. So a big, big turnover.
This is where, Matt, the wishbone offense is very, very effective because they don't worry about 4th down. They can just grind out 3 yards at a clip, and that was a nice run inside there by Howie Mann.
Mann is in. Howie Mann scores his first touchdown of the year, and Kennedy jumps out in top 6-0.
It was just a two-play drive. Just gave the ball to Mann, and I'm impressed by the way the interior of the Kennedy line really kicked out on this play. Look at it from the sideline. Great line drive, great surge, and they just blew those white shirts back and put 6 points into the end zone.
Reyes will hold for Moyer. The extra point try is good. And with 6 minutes and 26 seconds to play in the first half, Kennedy, following the intercepted pass by Quinones, takes a 7-0 lead.
They've been giving each other breaks, these two teams, turning the ball over, and that time on the interception of the Abean pass, Kennedy got the ball real close and ran that wishbone in the ideal place. The wishbone offense inside the 20-yard line is the ideal offense because you can go for 4 downs, and it's designed to pick up, as we've been saying all along, 3 or 4 yards at a clip. That time they just gave it to Mann twice, and he just ran it in.
It didn't take him long to convert following the interception, just 2 plays. And Mann's 3-yard run giving the Mustangs the lead. So now let's see what Colonia can do. We have our first score in the ball game. Moyer to kickoff. Dandridge is the deep back. Also back there, Warren Bennett and Keith Cesney. Short kick, and Bennett takes it at the 20. And Bennett finds a hole. 1 man to beat. Warren Bennett, 80 yards for the touchdown.
Beautiful execution of the wedge blocking on the kick return. It was perfect because he caught the ball in the air. He didn't have to wait. He caught it on the run. The ball didn't hit the ground. He followed the wedge blocking. And remember, those wedge blocks up there, they only last about a second and a half at the best. And when he got out here in a foot race, he was running against the kicker. And the kicker is not one of those fast backs. And consequently, he outran him, went all the way up the sideline, and brought Colonia right back into the ball game. This extra point is critical.
The second time this year that Colonia has returned a kickoff for a score. Versus North Brunswick, Dandridge returned a kickoff 80 yards. So the special teams doing the job for the Patriots. Abeen on for the extra point, and it's smothered. Eric Jefferson came in and just smothered the kick. It had no chance, and that could turn out to be a very big play indeed, as that makes the score 7-6 in favor of Kennedy. And let's take a look, though, at Bennett's kickoff return.
Here it is. Bennett is going to catch the ball on the run. Does a good job fielding it. Now he finds the wedge right when the blocks are being hit, right here. You can see men just making contact. It's not like they had contact and try to hold it. And now he gets in the foot race with Moyer. Moyer, an offensive tackle, is trying to run him down on the outside. Takes his last shot, can't make it, and Bennett just pumps those legs up into the end zone. Gets Colonia right back in the ball game. Unfortunately, they missed the extra point, and they're down by 1.
Well, that's the way to get your team back in it. Bennett going coast to coast. And that score coming just 12 seconds after Kennedy had jumped out in front. Schermetter will kick off. Obviously, he's okay to kick off. It's his second kickoff of the day, but the punting chore is a little too much due to that injury. Burton and Bajer back at the 16-yard line, and it's a line drive kick. Burton handles it at the 1. And he is brought down by Bob Cook, the junior backup end at 5'11", 165 pounds. The nose of the ball resting at the 15. And that's where JFK will take over. Second time that Colonia has returned a kickoff for a score this year. Bennett has one. Dandridge has one.
And again, we see the opposing coaches, Patsy Barbado, prowling the sidelines to the far side of the field.
Bad pitch. And it's a Colonia touchdown as Dave Runk falls on the loose ball.
Well, there it is, the danger. This time, Colonia is not playing it soft. They're blitzing on the snap of the ball. They broke that whole play up. As the handoff was attempted, the ball came loose. And in the end zone, it could have been a safety had Kennedy been able to recover it, but there were 6 or 7 Colonia defenders. Now look at this. Here's the handoff. And
Bad
there's
pitch.
the pop right there by Martino. Martino clobbered Quinones, and there's the attempt by Kennedy to recover the ball for a safety and just give up 2 points. But Ronk and the gang showed up real quick and made it 6 for Colonia. Now they call a timeout for a little confusion on the extra point play.
So Martino does the job. He comes crashing in on Quinones, forcing the errant pitch, and then Ronk and teammates making the charge at the loose ball, Ronk falling on it. And just that quickly, Colonia has taken the lead 12-7.
Here's what Colonia did, Matt. We outlined the wishbone offense. And what Colonia did is they said, you blitz the linebacker and have the linebacker take the pitch man and put Martino the tackle on the quarterback. And that's what happened. The blitzing linebacker had the dive man, had man on the first play, on the first fake of the option. On the second fake, as soon as Quinones pulled the ball out, there was Martino in his face with a big pop, sprung the ball loose, and the ball was loose in the end zone.
We'll take a look at the replay one more time, and Martino makes the initial big play. Nobody picks him up.
Bang. Now the ball goes flying up over, it looks like Jefferson back there. Or no, it was Burton. Burton was trying to fall on the ball, and as he tried to fall, that Colonia wave of defenders just flew in there. 5 guys crashed in there and knocked him off the ball.
Colonia will go for 2. Abeen lofts one, knocked away. Quinones knocks it away from Bellotti, the intended receiver. And so Colonia has failed to convert on both of their point after tries. One, the kick being blocked, and now the pass failing here, but they do lead 12-7 with 5:50 to play.
And again, Vinny A. Bean hits his receiver right in his hands, and the receiver has the ball in his hands. That time, Bellotti got rocked, and it came loose, but the other times, it just popped out of their hands.
We go back to our comment, of course, that no, this will not be a high-scoring affair. This will be a defensive struggle, and you won't see a lot of points. And, of course, in the last 36 seconds, you've seen 3 touchdowns.
Well, what you've seen, Matt, was
miscues.
Right, exactly. A touchdown perpetrated by an interception, which was a defensive thing. A touchdown on specialty teams, which some people consider defense. The kicking game by some coaches is considered defense because you're moving the ball down the field into the opponent's territory. And again, defense again scored a touchdown. So it's a defensive game, but they're putting points on the board.
Bajer is tripped up as he crosses the 30-yard line, gets up just short of the 35. So now let's see if this shaken Kennedy club can do something. They were all pumped up just a few seconds ago. They had taken a 7-0 lead following an interception by Quinones, the quarterback. They went 5 yards in 2 plays. But on the ensuing kickoff, Bennett returns it 80 yards for a score. And then following the Colonia kickoff, a fumble into the end zone. And look at Howie Mann go into the Colonia secondary, and he picks up big yardage. Again, we've got to go back to the patience you have to show with the wishbone offense.
Well, you know what happened there, Matt? Again, they put the tackle on the quarterback and the linebacker on the dive man, and the linebacker got blocked. There it is right there. Boom. There's the linebacker getting driven back, and you see Mann breaking it right up the middle, and a touchdown-saving tackle there.
A loose ball as we come back to action. Colonia says they have it, and they do. Bill Buglioli, senior linebacker, recovering the loose ball, and turnovers hurting Kennedy today.
Buglioli, the man who had the assignment of stopping that dive play on the previous play, this time he comes in there and makes the fumble recovery as they jammed it up on the initial handoff, and that's one of the dangers of running this offense. There's a lot of ball handling by a lot of people. The fullback has to squeeze the ball and then let it go if he feels it pulled out. The quarterback has to pitch to the pitch man. Very difficult, very dangerous.
Bandridge skating to the outside and is dragged down as a flag is thrown. Mike Galante making the tackle. He's the strong side end. But let's see what the flag is all about. And they are talking to the Kennedy team, and so obviously going against Colonia, and the way Colonia is walking back, apparently it is a big one, perhaps holding or blocking below the waist. It's a clip.
That flag was thrown well after the play was wider than where the foul occurred, and it usually means a clip or a hold when the official throws the flag that far back towards the line of scrimmage.
So the ball is moved back to the 17-yard line with 4:42 to play in the first half. At halftime, we will bring you the performance of the John F. Kennedy High School Marching Band. And don't forget, immediately following the second quarter, we have our Flag on the Play feature, in which we will offer our insights. Paul Spahala, along with Phil DiDomenico, offering the insights on some of the rules of the game.
Meanwhile, Jim Bellotti crashing up inside in the fullback dive play, making up about 5 yards of that penalty, or maybe 7 yards of that previous penalty.
Second and long. And they go to Bellotti once again, and he gets out near the 25-yard line. Well, it looks like at this point, Patsy Barbado might just be looking to chew up some of the clock. He leads by 5. and I think he'd be happy to go in with the halftime lead. We should point out that they have led all 3 of their previous games at halftime, but they lost the first 2. They led 6-0 against Piscataway, only to lose 19-6. They were up 12-7 at the half against North Brunswick, and then the Raiders came on with a blitz and beat them 35-18. They led last week against Monroe and held on to win 6-5. Colonia has called for time with 3 minutes and 26 seconds left to play. I'm Matt Laughlin, along with me, Al Reynoso, and we invite you to join us next week for our high school football doubleheader. We'll kick it off with a Friday evening matchup. Sea Caucus will take on Harrison in a Bergen County Scholastic League hookup. It'll be played at John F. Kennedy Stadium in Harrison, Saturday at 8, Sunday at 10 a.m. You can watch it on TV3. And the other half of our doubleheader is an Iron Hills Conference matchup from Seton Hall Prep, as Livingston will take on the Pony Pirates. Saturday at 10, Sunday at 9:30 in the evening. You can watch it on TV3. And those 2 games are interesting in that, for you personally, Al, JFK Stadium in Harrison is the first night game you had ever seen as a football player. You were just a youngster, small guy playing at St. Benedict's, and well, of course, that was an adrenaline-pumping game for you.
It sure was, Matt. It was, as you said, the first night game I ever saw I was playing in, and that really psyched me up.
Bellotti gets the call and brings it out near the 30-yard line. It'll be 4th and long in a punting situation, and now we get a timeout called, and wisely called by Kennedy, because they want to get this ball back with some time on the clock. So an interesting game next week at Harrison, the site of your first night game that you ever saw, you happened to participate in. And from our standpoint, it'll be interesting to see Seton Hall Prep operating for the first time in years under a new coach. Of course, Tony Ferducci passed away in the spring. He has been replaced by one of the all-time great coaches. I mean, there is not a person who has a bad thing to say about John Allen. He has done it in football, he has done it in wrestling, and he has taken over as the head man at Seton Hall Prep. So 2 interesting games for us, aside from what takes place out on the field. Harrison will have to be considered the favorite going into that game against Sea Caucus, as they have jumped out to an undefeated start. All right, Martino on to punt, and again, this punting game has not worked all that effectively for Colonia.
Kennedy is in a punt block.
They don't get it, but they should get good field position out of this as Bajer handles it. And Nigel Myler throws him to the ground at the 46-yard line. But with 3:09 to play, they have some time, and they've got pretty good field position. And if they can move the ball down within field goal range, they have a man, John Moyer, who has not missed a field goal try in his last 7 attempts dating back to last year. He has gone 3 for 3 this season. All 3 of those, by the way, coming in the season opening win over Edison. Edison and Bishop are the wins for JFK. Last week shut out by South Plainfield 17-0. And man, the fullback, the workhorse in this Wishbone offense, brings it into Colonia territory to the 47-yard line.
You know, one of the things about the Wishbone, Matt, is that you can run 5 or 6 plays without a huddle if you just run the same play right or left. All you have to do is tell your team whether you're going to run to the right or to the left if they run them in the same formation, and you know, not use up a lot of the clock and get a lot of plays off.
Quinones looking for Galante, and it's incomplete. Bennett and Cesny on the coverage.
There wasn't a real good fake by Quinones on that fake into the line before he threw the Galante, and Colonia isn't really defending the run. They're looking for the fake inside and the throw. So again, down in distance and time in the half in this case predicates the way Colonia is defending the Wishbone. They're giving away that run by man up the middle, and they're looking more to make sure they don't get that home run pass deep down the sidelines to Galante.
Kennedy has called for time as we take a look at Pat Barbado, the veteran head coach. He replaced Joe Martino as head coach after Joe moved on first to Rawway High and then on to Linden High School. Joe now the athletic director at Linden High. We'll see Linden on Turkey Day when they take on the Union Farmers. Linden off to an undefeated start, and they're also the #1 ranked team in the TV3 Top 10 poll. Well, scouts in attendance trying to figure out what these clubs are doing and how they might be able to go up against them the next week. Cedar Ridge, the next opponent for JFK High School.
That looked like South Plainfield, who are the next opponents for Colonia.
Let's go, Jay!
South Plainfield unscored on through 4 games this year. Man just carries about 4 guys with him, close to a first down. And we have a clock stoppage for a measurement. 2:14 to play in the first half. And a reminder that at halftime, the JFK band will be performing for us. We'll have a measurement here. It'll either be 4th and short, or it'll be 1st and 10. Now, Moyer's field goal, the longest one this year, a 32-yarder. So they'd have to move the ball a good distance yet. Oh boy, it doesn't get much closer than that. Charlie Bolster really giving a look at it, and he says that's a first down. But they'll have to move some more. Ball at the 44. They may have to get it another 25 yards or so for Moyer. They've got some time, though. 2:14. And a new set of downs. Way downfield looking for Bajer, who was open. Bajer had a step on Dandridge, but the ball thrown incomplete as it was overthrown by Quinones, but Bajer had gotten behind the secondary.
Quinones really releases a good pass here. I don't think Colonia recognizes that he can throw this well. Sets that back foot, just wings it up, and Bajer had beaten the secondary, but the pass was thrown behind him. Quinones just threw the ball a little bit behind him. Had Bajer been able to continue going in the direction he was going without having to adjust his run, he may have caught that for a touchdown.
Looking for Bajer again, incomplete. Bajer was tripped up inadvertently by Bennett. He called quickly for a flag, but he had no chance of catching that ball.
And again, Quinones is only looking for that deep receiver, and he may have a flat receiver open, and he may even have the underneath out receiver open, the tight end dragging across the middle, or the blocking back who leaked out into the flat area.
Third and 10. Just under 2 minutes to play in the first half. A 12-7 Colonia lead. And with heavy pressure applied by Ferrara, Quinones has to release the ball quickly. They were setting up a screen for Galante. He had blockers out there, but Quinones had no time to get him the ball.
That would have been a good play because Galante just leaked out there, but look at the pressure by Ferrara. See, if they'd have caught that, look, there's nobody there but one man. There he is. He was the only Colonia defender on that backside. If they were able to have enough time, that would have been a real good play. Well perceived play, a good call. Ferrara really messed it up by getting up in there quick.
Moyer on to punt, low snap, and gets off a shanked punt that rolls back toward the 40-yard line. Well, now let's see what Colonia will try to do, leading by 5 with 1:42 to play in the first half.
It's going to be interesting now. They're going to have the kind of confidence in the Bean. He's thrown an interception. He's had receivers drop the ball. He's had a receiver get the ball knocked out of his hand. Had an interesting call on one catch that the ground caused the fumble on, or the incompletion on. So are they going to let him wing the ball, or are they just going to run it out and gather up the troops at halftime?
Bill!
Loose ball. And Colonia falls on it. Looks like it was Bellotti coming up from that pile, falling on the loose ball.
Well, there's the handoff, deep now. Again, the tailback is deep in the secondary. Dandridge, and the ball comes out right here. Bellotti kicks it and then just dives for it. Good job getting that ball. Again, Dandridge very deep.
Wide open is Link, and he's brought down with a touchdown saving tackle by Burton. Reyes had fallen to the ground. He had the coverage on Link, and when he slipped, it was up to Burton to make that touchdown saving tackle.
And boy, that is a relief for A. Bean, because he's been throwing that ball quite well. That time he got pressure from the backside. He throws while pushing off that back foot. Kind of just launches that ball and hooked it up. Here he goes again.
Incomplete, in and out of the hands of Link. Coverage on the play by McGlynn. We'll take a look at that hookup one more time.
There you see him running. He sets, he throws, and downfield Link has gotten loose, and had he been able to just keep that ball in stride, he may have been able to run it in. It was a good job defensively out there by Cedric Burton, who saved the touchdown. Because as you said, Matt, Reyes was on the ground.
Link, the leading receiver on the team coming into the game, picking up his 7th pass reception of the season, and make it number 8 as he catches the tipped ball and goes out of bounds down at the 6-yard line. So with 18 seconds left to play, Colonia will have an opportunity to put some points on the board.
Look, I think this is hit by Lynch right here. Is that Lynch? One of them hit the ball, and Link did a great job of just concentrating. It was either McGlynn or Lynch who tipped the ball up, but Link concentrated, brought the ball in, and A. Bean has the opportunity now to put points in. These will be big points if they can get them in now.
Boy, oh boy, will they. A. Bean looking for the end zone, and he is in. A 6-yard run for Vinny A. Bean, and it is now 18-7.
That looked like a run all the way, Matt. I don't think he even considered the option of throwing the ball. I think he had the option. I think the play is designed. Look at it from the end zone. A. Bean on the fake, bootlegging, looking, has the hand cocked as if he could throw it, has receivers open, but he says, I've seen him drop too many times today. I'm taking it in myself.
Vinny A. Bean with the 6-yard run, and a timeout has been called on the field. It looks as if Colonia is going to go for 2. What an uplifting score that's got to be for Colonia, giving them even more confidence as they go into the locker room. And Pat Barbado has a reputation of being a defensive type of coach, a guy who plays it safe, but he went to the air when he had good field position following that shanked punt and try to put that touchdown on the board. And with 11 seconds to go, he does so. So he eschews the easy way out and goes with the pass to set up the score.
And the other thing, Matt, that I think from the perspective of the Colonia team is that A. Bean has to get some confidence in himself. And here he is. He's connecting on passes. He's running in a touchdown, and he's starting to take over as a quarterback. And he's only a junior, so that next year or for the rest of this season, if he continues to build his confidence, he throws a little better, he runs a little better, he reads a little stronger, and all those things will help this club down the line.
They will go for 2. Bellotti, the lone setback behind A. Bean. Dandridge out as a flanker. Trips to one side. Lofting in the end zone for Schneider. Incomplete. Made the diving catch, but out of bounds. And as he slams the ball to the ground, he will be penalized.
Throws the flag. And I'll tell you, now the rule is only 1 foot in high school, right? I'm pretty sure it was only 1 foot, and he caught the ball. I don't know if he dragged that back foot or not. Let's take a look at it. Here it is from the end zone now. A. Bean is sprinting out to the other side, throwing across his body. Here's the catch. Boom, 1 foot is in. And Colonia takes a penalty for slamming that ball down after the pass being ruled incomplete.
So the penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, and now the ball goes back to the 25-yard line. Colonia scoring in 5 plays, going 60 yards to take the 18-7 lead. And Kennedy, of course, will be hoping for a big run back. They won't have to go nearly as far as normal. Bajer and Burton back at the 35-yard line to handle Shermetta's kick with 11 seconds to go.
I expect an onside kick, Matt. 11 seconds. Oh, kicked it deep.
Bajer from the 30. And he is hit as he crosses the 45-yard line, and Kennedy quickly calls for a timeout. Tackle on the play was made by Bill Buglioli.
Bill Buglioli made that stop.
Well, we talked a little bit about the opponents for next week for both these clubs. Talking to the freshman team yesterday at Colonia, undefeated 4-0, going against the undefeated South Plainfield freshman team next Friday. And that's another rivalry that's recently developed, the South Plainfield-Colonia rivalry, as the conferences have shaped up.
South Plainfield not all that far away, but had played in the Mid-State Conference, and so there wasn't a rivalry as such. But moving over, South Plainfield off to an unbeaten start. They do have a blemish on their varsity record. They're tied. But 3-0-1 entering this weekend's action, and they had yet to be scored on. First down and 10. And you can expect this to go into the air. 7 seconds remaining in the half. Looking for Bajer. It's tipped and falls incomplete. As Cesny had his hand on it, almost came up with the interception, but as the ball falls incomplete, that'll do it for the first half. And a lot of scoring in the second quarter. 25 points put up on the board. Colonia has 18 of them, Kennedy 7. We'll be back with our halftime show after this. Taking a look at the first half statistics, the key, and it is highlighted on the bottom of your screen, turnovers. Kennedy has been affected by turnovers. They scored their 1 touchdown off a Colonia turnover, but not a lot of yardage because the scores have come in not strange fashions, but somewhat unusual. A kickoff and a fumble into the end zone for a score, and a short drive. So not a lot of yards resulting in the scores, but nonetheless, we've had a lot of score.
We have, Matt. We've talked. Here's how we manned the fullback who scored the touchdown for Kennedy. But we've, as you said, Matt, we've scored on defense. It's been a defensive game, but yet there's points on the board, and it has been a typical Colonia Kennedy ball game.
You saw the graphic indicating the 10 fumbles this year for JFK. Boy, they really want to stop that turnover situation. And Pat Barbado hoping that previous experience of a halftime lead does not hurt his club. Colonia has reached the playoffs 6 times, 4 of them in Barbados' 12 years. And they need this win in order to keep playoff hopes alive. We told you earlier that they lost their first 2 games. They cannot afford another loss if they want to stay in the playoff hunt. Alf has certainly come down to visit us for this ball game, and we hope that Alf is enjoying this contest. Looks like Alf is a Kennedy fan. He's sitting on that side of the field. But at any rate, if Colonia wants to keep their playoff hopes alive, they've got to come up with a win today. And as I said, Pat Barbado is hoping that his previous experience this year with halftime leads is not an omen. Of their 3 games, they have led each game at halftime, but in the first 2 games, they wound up on the short end of the stick. Piscataway scored 19 third-quarter points in the first game to beat Colonia 19-6. And after a 12-7 lead against North Brunswick 2 weeks ago, that lead disappeared rather quickly, and North Brunswick went on to a 35-18 win.
We got a good shot of the Kennedy cheerleaders. Have a chance to introduce them to you. Tricia Fitzgerald, Stacy Larco, Jin Hwack, Stacy Pelham, Marie Ward, Nicola Costa, Kim Walling, Amy Jindrak, the varsity cheerleaders. The JVs, Donna Balther, Jen Hart, Sharon Morgan, Alice Donlin, Sherry Breslin, Lisa Manella, Raquel Horsford, Denise Majek, and Jen Aluras. Also want to mention, Matt, that the Booster Club here at Kennedy,
Outstanding job.
has done a great job serving refreshments for us at halftime and keeping our strength up under these difficult conditions.
We also
here.
had a pre-game snack, coffee and donuts provided by the Booster Club. Teresa Burge, the president, the vice president, Ray Moyer, and the secretary, Nancy Lucas, the treasurer, Pam McGlynn, and perhaps the most important member, the co-chairpersons of the 50-50 raffle, Jerry Thorne and Connie DiFilippo. But at any rate, we want to thank them for their support. And the second half starts inauspiciously for Colonia as they bobble the kickoff, and they have it at the 19-yard line. Colonia's drives today, well, it was a defensive struggle in the first quarter. 4 plays, giving it up on down, 6 in a punt, 3 in a fumble, 5 in a punt, 1 in an interception. That led to Kennedy's score. And they really haven't had much opportunity to move the ball, although their last drive of the first half, they went to the air, 60 yards, they score to make it 18-7. So other than that one drive, they really haven't had to move the ball all that much, Al.
No, they haven't, Matt. And they, you know, they got to the end of the half offense, the hurry-up offense, and Bean moved them down the field very quickly. See his statistics.
He's only completed 2 passes, both of them to Sean Link for those 48 yards, but those 2 completions coming in that last drive, when one could have expected the Patriots to just run the clock out, as they were leading 12-7 at the time, but they went 60 yards in 5 plays to put another score on the board. And this will move the ball 5 yards closer to a first down.
And Colonia seems to be changing the depth of their backs in accordance with the play they call. Now, I don't know if that's a tendency you could pick up if you were scouting them. I'm sure their opponents will be seeing our telecast of this game. But they seem to line up deeper on certain situations and occasions. See how deep they line up this time. But now they're not that deep. On this set, they're not that deep.
Bean tries the keeper. He picked up a first down earlier in the game on a quarterback draw. This time he'll be short of a first down. It'll be 3rd and about a yard. You're right, Al. They have adjusted their drop in the I formation on that last play. Dandridge was only about 5 or 6 yards deep. Earlier in the ball game, he was as much as 9 yards deep to receive the handoff. Now he's lined back deep again, about 7 yards. They go to Bellotti, the fullback, and he's got the first down. Brian Lynch making the tackle, but as he made the tackle, the forward momentum of Bellotti was enough for the first down. So the ball at the 30-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Patriots.
Bellotti crashes in there, and then after the initial contact, he felt the soft spot to his left and just slid that way, got the first down.
Bellotti, the fullback, Dandridge, the tailback. Warren Bennett comes split to the near sideline. Link. And now Lozada coming in motion, and the pitch to Dandridge, and he is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Loss of 5 on the play as Howie Mann makes the tackle. Mann has been very aggressive, Al, from that fullback spot. He has been in the Colonia backfield an awful lot.
He's a tough kid, man. You know, we talked about him being physically and mentally capable of taking a hit every time they snap the ball. And here he is defensively on that outside linebacker position, just crashing in there and being very aggressive when he sees the play coming his way.
They'd switch things up a little bit. They moved Bellotti to tailback and Dandridge to fullback, trying to take advantage of a quick opener with the quicker man. But that does not buy Colonia anything. Bob Lanigan yelling to his defense to watch for the screen and the draw.
Well, it's 3rd and a mile. 3rd and about, what, 16? So it's a good call, a screen or a draw.
And it's a bomb downfield, almost picked off by Quinones. Lozada, the intended receiver, but it'll be 4th down, and Martino will do the punting. And again, it is the punting game that has caused some problems for Colonia.
I think it's a big problem for Colonia. They've got Joey Martino punting. The snaps have been bad. They had one snapped over their head in the Monroe game. It gave up a 2-point safety. They had one snapped over Martino's head previously. There goes another one.
But he's able to make the play and make the punt. Excellent athletic move by Martino, the 6'1", 245-pound junior, and he one-handed out of the air.
Look at that. Now, there's a great job by a kid that's not a specialist. I mean, he's a tackle. He's in there crashing into the other tackle on every snap of the ball. And on punting situations, they put a whole big pile of pressure on him back there trying to field the snap and kick the ball. And that kid just gets right in there and does it. And it's really amazing how well he handles that pressure.
Mann takes the ball from the 49 and picks up about 3. Mann, again, the workhorse of this offense. And Kennedy, of course, continues with the wishbone. We have mentioned it throughout. You've got to be patient with it. However, the problem is it is not a come-from-behind offense. And they do trail 18-7, and we have 7:53 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Mann spinning away and finds his way to the 42-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and short. Just want to talk about Martino for a moment. He, of course, the son of Joe Martino, the current Linden athletic director. And I'm sure Joe Jr. doesn't want to hear this, and I'm not so sure I want to admit it, but I do remember when he would tag along with his dad when Joe was coaching over at Linden. And we all grow up and get older, and Joe has developed into a fine, fine football player, and I have hopefully developed into a fine, fine 30-year-old.
Here he is coming across on this play. He's got quarterback responsibility now. See, he allowed the back to run right past him, and he took a shot at the quarterback, and that's his assignment on that particular defense on that side.
And if you are not disciplined in running the defense against the wishbone, you will get burned because there will be an open area. You've got to just do your job. Here's 4th and short, and Mann, who was tripped up, gets the 1st down. Bill Buglioli came in from the linebacker spot and boom, gets him, but not enough as Mann flips forward for the 1st.
Well, they've got that offense running now. They've moved the ball 3 and 4 yards out of clip, just giving it to Mann inside. Colonia's given that away. They don't want to give that outside pitch away. His motion by the left side of the line looked like 66.
Moyer jumping.
Hey, you talk about Joe Martino. I called him Joey because that's what he was when he was a little guy. And like you said, Matt, I can remember him on the sideline with a Linden jersey on, catching the ball, putting the new ball into the game. And here he is as a junior playing with the varsity and doing a nice job.
1st and 15. Jefferson getting a couple. Wrapped up by Martino.
Short gain on the play, 2nd and 14.
Let's take a look at Jefferson here. There's the handoff, and Martino right there at the line of scrimmage. They try to change up and go for the wide tackle dive, not give it to the fullback. And that's probably the first instance this afternoon that they didn't fake to man, and man didn't get popped.
Here's Quinones picking up about 5. It'll bring up a 3rd and 9. Bennett coming up to make the stop. Warren Bennett, a junior, considered the best defensive back for the Patriots.
That play, I think there was no read at all. It was a predetermined quarterback keeper. The fake to the fullback was very short, and I don't think there was any possibility that Quinones was going to give the ball to the fullback on that play. It was a predetermined keep.
3rd down play. Burton struggles down to the 35-yard line. And I've got to believe that trailing 18-7, that they are in 4-down territory here. A little out of Moyer's range. It would be a 52-yarder, so they're going to go for it on 4th down. Bob Lanigan on the headphones to the coaches upstairs.
The true test of the wishbone now is if they stay in the regular wishbone and come out wide, run the option, or are they going to throw off of it?
They are going to throw off it, and they have the 1st down. Galante, the leading receiver on this team, making his first reception of the day. They have tried to go to him before, but Galante this time hooks up on the reception from Quinones, and it's a 1st down.
Well, he spins. He starts out to his left, spins around and throws to his right, and that had the defenders looking to their right, the offensive left, and opened up Galante, as you said, Matt, the leading receiver, for a nice gain and a big 1st down.
Back to action. Man gets to the 20-yard line for a pickup of 2. 4 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. The clock continues to run. Colonia leading Kennedy by a score of 18-7 on a gorgeous fall afternoon. Man now with 74 yards today and the touchdown. He scored Kennedy's lone TD on a 3-yard run. Burton is wrapped up.
That was a predetermined option on the end, and they should have given the ball to man again. He's getting that good inside yardage. Now look, there's the fake to man. Nobody touches him. He's driving up the field, and the option is what Colonia has decided to do. They decided to crash that outside option right away and force Quinones to pitch early, and he did. He faked the fullback and pitched early, and Colonia had all their people there. Their corner and their invert came right up.
3rd down. Jefferson was hit by Ronk, and he was knocked off balance and was unable to break it outside, and winds up gaining 1. And it'll be 4th down, and again, well, they might be close for a field goal try, but they would then have to score and go for 2 to tie it up. Let's see what they decide to do. They're going to go for it. They pass on the field goal try.
I'd look for Galante again, Matt, or maybe even the wide man, Bajer.
Ooh, there's movement. Nose guard Colatrella jumping. Colatrella, 6 foot, 220-pounder. That's his measurements as a senior. As a freshman, he didn't play. He was too small. Grew in 3 years, a 6 foot, 220. A starter last year.
Well, I think everybody in Colonia knew that he would grow because his dad's a big guy, and he's came right up through the little league and Pop Warner program, so they had a lot of confidence in him coming along, and he sure has.
Started as center last year, was an all-conference performer, 2-way starter this year. 4th down and short. Boy, that changes the complexion of this play. A pass attempt it'll be. Quinones lost one for the end zone. It will sail incomplete and out of bounds. I thought perhaps Quinones could have turned it up and run for the 1st down.
He looked like he had. If he had made that decision early, he would have easily had the 1st down. But he waited a little while longer, Here, now right here, if he'd made the decision to run right now, you see the way they're backing up here? Ferrara's backing up. Now Ferrara comes, and he makes a decision to throw, and it was too late at that point to make the first down because Ferrara had adjusted.
So Colonia will take over at the 16-yard line. Time now becoming a factor. We are late in the third quarter, and the Mustangs trail by 11.
Colonia's got to put some yardage together here, get a drive, at least get up to midfield, because they can't afford to expect Joey Martino to catch these snaps that much.
McIntosh in the game as tailback picks up about 4 up to the 20-yard line. He has seen limited action at tailback today. We thought he would see a little bit more. 2nd and 6. Myler checks out. Bennett comes on with the play.
This is a good down 2nd and 6 for Colonia. They can run that off tackle hold pretty well to the bottom of the screen.
Bellotti, the fullback, tries the middle and gets maybe a yard. McDermott coming up from the bottom of the pile.
Again, Colonia puts themselves in a passing situation deep in their own territory. They're not out of the woods by no means.
Link lined up as flanker left. Myler split wide to the left side, and that play is stopped for no gain as McIntosh gets the call. McGlynn, the weak side inside linebacker, making the stop. It is a punting situation, and Kennedy should come out of this with excellent field position, and they're going, it appears, to try for a block. They've got 10 guys up at the line of scrimmage. Bajer back at his own 45-yard line. Martino standing at his 7. Good snap this time. And Lynch just misses getting it for Kennedy. Fair catch signaled for by Bajer at the 49-yard line of the Patriots. So with 44 seconds remaining in the quarter, Kennedy takes over in good field position, and Joe Martino is hurt. We'll take a look at it and see what causes it. Might just be a cramp, but boy, he's really running around in pain. Ooh, the ankle. As he comes down, the kicking foot just went out from underneath him, twisting his ankle, and ooh, he is grimacing in pain.
Well, you could see that. It's a perfect job of our slow motion camera to see how that ankle just buckled under, and that really initially causes a great deal of pain, and then later on it gets, let's take a look at it. It gets a little eased. Boom, there it is. Look at that. He just collapses underneath the weight. And that, again, you've got a big man doing something that is athletically designed for a smaller guy to do, kicking the ball and coming down with all your weight on your feet after driving the ball up into the air. And his ankle just buckled under. And again, that is usually just a torn ligament.
Well, as they work on Joe Martino on the field, we'll take a short break with 44 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and Colonia on top of JFK. 49-yard touchdown pass from Quinones to Bajer.
Bajer, looking into the sun, sees that the ball is underthrown. When he stops, he brings himself under control. The Colonia defenders go down, and when they tried to stop, they tripped and fell. He caught the ball by himself, and Bajer waltzes into the end zone, and we got ourselves a ball game here.
Moyer will be on to complete or try the extra point. They set up in the little trick setting, and that doesn't confuse Colonia. And now they move to the regular alignment. Reyes does a good job placing it down on the low snap, and Moyer puts it home, and we have an 18-14 ball game. Bob Lanigan congratulating Moyer on his extra point try, and now exhorting the special teams on to give his club a shot here. And he wants the special teams to do the good job, pin Colonia, and hopefully come up with an exchange and get good field position out of it.
The last time we saw this scenario, Colonia returned the kickoff for a touchdown. Bennett just flying up inside that wedge and going all the way. And you see Patsy Barbados saying to himself, is this going to be another one of those deals? We go in at halftime leading and we end up losing the game in the second half? Or are we going to suck it up right here and get tough and put some points on the board? We've been saying all along that Colonia can't afford to just take the ball 3 times and punt it to Kennedy, because Kennedy is going to hurt them eventually, and that's exactly what happened. And let's see how they negotiate this kickoff return.
What do you think the odds are they will go away from Bennett? They're not going to give anybody a chance, although McIntosh does pick it up and brings it out near the 40-yard line. So they decide to keep it on the ground and prevent the deep men from coming up with that big return, but in the process they give Colonia pretty good field position.
Well, again, Colonia is going to have to put together an offense here. They need a drive. They need to reestablish themselves and get the momentum back. And on the other hand, Kennedy now can really, if they can stop Colonia here, they can take control of this game and win it.
With Martino out, Rob Greiner, a 6'3" junior, has come on to replace him at tackle. Martino out with the apparently badly sprained ankle. We hope it's nothing more than that. And they go to a Dandridge, who brings it up to the 43-yard line on what turns out to be the last play of the third quarter. So we've got 12 minutes still in front of us. It's a tight ball game at 18-14 in favor of Colonia. We have 12 minutes left to play. A few moments ago, Joe Martino went down with, as we said earlier, what appears to be a badly sprained ankle. We're going to get a report from the sideline in just a moment. And Rob Greiner has come on to replace him. Greiner, a junior, replacing Martino. Martino also a junior. All right, a look at statistics through the third quarter. And again, the turnovers, a bit of a factor in the first half, but a turnover-free third quarter. Kennedy with the edge in total yards, but the most important statistic shows Colonia with a 4-point lead. Here's a second down play. Heavy pressure, and it's almost a completed pass. Abeen just heaved it downfield. It was a bit of a floater. Quinones almost picked it off. As it skipped off his hands, Warren Bennett had no one between him and the goal line, and if he could have picked it up, it would have been 6.
Abeen avoids the rush here real well, and now he makes a bad decision to throw the ball without his feet planted. Throws up that wounded bird and almost hooked it up for a touchdown. Lucky, he's throwing the ball a little too wildly, a little into crowds, and really doesn't have the experience yet.
Third down, roll out. And he's got his favorite receiver, Sean Link, for a first down.
Oh, he did a nice job throwing the ball that time. You see him, he comes sprint out. It's exactly the way the play is designed. They blocked the contained man. They actually turned him around. And right there in the soft spot, over the linebackers, under the deep coverage, he throws that out pattern. He did that real nice. He knew who he wanted to go to. The man was open, delivered the ball well, had his feet planted, threw off the back foot.
Third catch of the afternoon for Sean Link. Link has moved to the flanker spot from tight end, where he started last year. Obviously a good move. He's the leading receiver. Ball almost came free out.
Yeah, that time Bellotti got the ball on the dive play, and as he was running with it, he was hit, and the ball came out from his arms into his hands, and he had to just pull it back in again.
Link comes out. Lozado is on. Second down. 6 yards to go. Bellotti gets the call and will be short of a first down by about 2 yards. Kennedy opened the scoring on a 3-yard run by Howie Mann. The extra point by Moyer good. It was 7-0. The ensuing kickoff was returned by Warren Bennett, 80 yards for a score. The extra point try was blocked. It was 7-6 Kennedy. That came 12 seconds after the man touchdown. Then just 24 seconds later, Dave Ronk fell on a loose ball in the end zone on a bad pitch. It was 12-7 as the pass attempt for 2 failed, and then Colonia scored again with 11 seconds left on a 6-yard run by Abeen, and here's Dandridge dragged down from behind by Reyes. Otherwise, he would have scored.
What a well-executed off tackle that was. It was the deep backfield set. Let's look at the defense for Kennedy. Watch how Colonia blocks down here, caves in everyone, and runs real wide. See the blocking there? Tight end blocking down. You see Dandridge finding that seam between the out block of Bellotti and the down blocks of the tight end, and finding that hole that they wanted. That was Schneider, 87, blocking down so well.
From the 20-yard line, Bellotti gets down to the 16-yard line. Just to run out that scoring by Colonia, Abeen scored with 11 seconds left in the half on a 6-yard score. At the point of halftime, it was 18-7 in favor of Colonia. Kennedy then scored with 34 seconds left in the third quarter when Quinones threw a 49-yard touchdown pass to Glenn Bajer on a play in which Dandridge slipped and fell. And that's how we stand after the Moyer extra point. 18-14 our score, 2nd down and 7. Bellotti bounces off of one tackler and gets inside the 15. Now the field goal situation, a little muddled for Colonia. Again, Schermetta would be the guy that you would expect to be on in a normal situation. But again, apparently he is not able to kick off, or that's all he's able to do. He can't punt as he normally would be expected to do. It remains to be seen whether he could try the field goal, A being listed as the backup. So they are in field goal territory. Big 3rd down play here. Quick pitch to Dandridge. Dandridge loses the ball, and Kennedy has fallen on it. Reyes falls on the loose ball, and a turnover once again playing a part in this ball game.
Dandridge did a great job shifting, but I think he did one too many shifts. Now watch how shifty he is here, cutting inside that block. Now he's going to cut back this way, and right here the ball comes flying out. And after the scramble, Reyes recovers, and Kennedy got the break they need.
And they go to Mann, who bulls his way across the 15-yard line. Mann a little slow in getting up. So I'm there taking a big, deep breath. He's got to be a tired young man. He has gone both ways, offensively and defensively, with very little time spent off the field. Lenny Reyes got to be happy with that fumble recovery that gives his team the ball, and a score would put them in front, should it be a touchdown.
I was going to make the comment that Bellotti, who carried the ball twice on that last series of downs for Colonia, was doing his Howie Mann impersonation. But they went on 3rd down to Dandridge, and Dandridge unfortunately coughed up the ball. And now we'll see Mann doing his Howie Mann interpretation or impersonation by carrying the ball inside on just about every play so far.
Well, big 3rd and about 2.5 play. And it'll be close to a 1st down. Jefferson getting the ball. The defense keying, of course, on Mann, who has just carried the ball an awful lot of the time. And Jefferson picks up the 1st down.
And you'll see that Kennedy has been picking on that side where Martino has vacated due to the injury, and they're running right to their left, right at that tackle spot, and they're having success.
Quinones sidestepping some tackles, leaping over some others, and gets out to the 27-yard line.
Let's look at the Colonia defense here, how they react to the play. The play is coming to their right. The linebacker fills for the dive man. That was a fake. And here comes Quinones outside. He gets away from the linebacker, jumps over a tackler, and gets nice yardage for a 5-yard gain.
Man, and I was faked out on the play. Thought man had it, and instead it was given to Jefferson, who was close to a first down. The officials stopped the clock. We will have a measurement. A report from the sideline. Our sideline source, Turk Reynoso, has told us that Joe Martino, bit of a double whammy, does have just a sprained ankle, which is the good news because he should be able to come back to play next week. You see Joe partially obscured on the sideline, but he's got the pads off because he probably will not return today. The ankle is iced up, but in addition to the sprained ankle, he also on that play suffered a cramp. So that's why he was rolling around in pain so much. Not only was the ankle bothering him, but he also had a cramp in that leg, and so he is done for the day. What has happened is Mike Spinello has come on and moved to nose guard for Colonia, and Chris Colatrella has moved from nose guard to Martino's old tackle spot. And here's Quinones under pressure, and he is sacked. Mike Young coming from the right side, sacking Quinones. Dave Ronk also in on it.
Ronk is the one with the big pressure here, Matt. Watch, coming from the backside. That's Ronk right there, just missing him, but forcing him to run up inside, and as he ran up inside, he ran into the rest of the pursuit. So Ronk caused him to move up inside, and the sack was registered. Second down.
2nd and 13. Dangerous pitch, and wrapping up Burton and throwing him to the ground is Mark Eichert. Eichert, the cornerback, coming up to make the stop for a loss on the play.
There you see, good job by 44 on the defense for Colonia, Mike Young. And then, of course, Eichert comes up to make the hit. But it was a well-played defense all the way down the line. They went past the fake to the fullback. And the end, Young played the quarterback well. And then they came up and covered the pitch man very, very well.
3rd and long. We approach the 5-minute mark. Young just comes barreling in and sacks Quinones back to the 20-yard line. Quinones looking for Bajer downfield, and nobody picked up Young.
You know, Matt, Colonia only has 2 men within 5 yards deep in their secondary, and that's the deepest man. They're playing that invert real tight, and they're just reacting to the flow of the ball, and they're expecting that halfback to come flying up, which he did on that pitch play, and the other halfback to rotate back into center field. But they're lining up with only 2 fellas 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage as their deepest men, and here's Kennedy to punt the ball back to Colonia.
Moyer's 5th punt of the day, just his first this half. And it's down at the 47-yard line. You saw Quinones earlier come off the field, limping up off the field. He is limping along the sideline. Jim Grady, a sophomore backup, is warming up along the sideline. Colonia leading 18-14 with 4:11 to play.
Vinny Abeen coming in with the play.
Quinones has also been taken out of the game defensively, and Eric Jefferson has replaced him at cornerback. Bellotti.
Boy, Kennedy is stunting their linebackers now. If Bellotti ever gets past that stunting linebacker, he could go all the way. There's Grady warming up.
Only a sophomore. And Reyes on the bench, and he has taken his cleats off his left foot. And it looks like they're going to tape up that ankle and try and give it a little more support. 3:20 left to play. Dandridge breaking tackles and has a first down. Down to the 39-yard line. Bob Lanigan had initially signaled for a timeout, and now he'll get it. The clock had stopped momentarily as they moved the chains, but he wants to come out and talk to the defense. And I guess he's going to say, fellas, we've got to come up with a big play, because if we don't, we're going to go home with our second consecutive loss, and we'll fall to 2-2. There was a similar situation for Kennedy in the second game of the year. They defeated Bishop Bar 7-3, but the Trojans were knocking on the door, as they say. Bob went out and said, fellas, we need a big play. We've got to come up with the ball in order to preserve our lead and the win. And lo and behold, the ball popped free, and they held on for the 7-3 win. Colonia is the defending GMC White Division champs, as that graphic indicated. This is a White Division game. The GMC, for football purposes, is broken into red, white, and blue divisions. In other sports, there's also a gold division. Red generally being the larger schools, the Group 4 schools. White division, the Group 3s, and then you get the smaller schools, 1s and 2s, playing in the blue division. An official's timeout. A-Beam having a little trouble getting the chin strap on, and Charlie Bolser giving him a little help, saying, son, does that work? Okay, that sounds good. Let's get back to action.
Vinny's dad told me not to forget to mention the Pop Warner program in Colonia again every year. Bellotti
spins. Short gain on the play. McDermott and McGlynn making the tackle. Well, there is a very well-developed Pop Warner program in this town.
That's true, Matt, and it's not just Colonia. It's Island. The Island team is a successful program. Woodbridge has a successful Pop Warner program. There are quite a few.
Quarterback draw attempt is snuffed out by McGlynn, and Kennedy calls for timeout, stopping the clock with 2:38, it appears. The sun shining directly on the scoreboard here at Louis Sparta Stadium, and it's a little difficult to pick up, but it does look like it's 2:38.
And again, Kennedy calls timeout to preserve that clock and give themselves one last opportunity. If they can stop Colonia, Colonia's got to make a decision here now. It's 3rd and long, and are they just going to keep the ball on the ground and kick the ball, or are they going to throw for the first down and give themselves 4 more shots at running out the clock? This is a big play in this game for Colonia, because if they don't make it and have to kick, it'll give Kennedy the opportunity to come back.
And they don't have a punter.
And they don't have a punter now. I don't know who's going to punt with Martino out of the game.
They'll send somebody out there if they do decide to punt, but Shermetta, the normal punter, again out with that injured thigh, and then Martino hurt on that last punt of Colonia's, and so they really don't have an experienced punter back there. They may just run another play if need be. Little dump off, and it's knocked away. Bellotti was open, but the pass was knocked away by Cesny, and now it's 4th down, and here comes Shermetta. So they are going to send Shermetta on. They had been protecting him earlier by sending Martino out, but they will bring out Shermetta, the sophomore, who is also the backup quarterback, and again has a thigh bruise, and he is making his first punt today in a pressure situation, and the punting game has not been the strongest part of this game for Colonia. The high snap is handled by Shermetta, and he booms one into the end zone. The ball will come out to the 20-yard line, and Kennedy has to go 80 yards in 2:28 in order to win this game.
Well, Colonia did what they wanted to do. If they're going to give the ball to Kennedy, put him back as deep as they can. It would have been better if they could have downed the ball inside the 5-yard line somewhere, but it's a long way to go for the wishbone. And Colonia's in a pretty good position right now.
That graphic tells the story of this ball game. 2:28 from conclusion. Quinones has his ankle taped up and is back out there at quarterback. In motion goes man. First time we've seen that. Way downfield, Foreman. Does he have it? No, out of bounds. made a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch at the 50, but ruled out of bounds. It'll come back.
And we saw one of the ways that the wishbone can open things up. They put man in motion, ran him out, and then let him go up the sideline. And Colonia didn't have anybody really covering well. They had a safety rotating over, but you can see he's not real close to any defenders. So Colonia is going to have to get out of that defense and go back to their 52 monster, play the monster with the motion man, and stay 3 deep. And that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they've done. They've gone monster left, 3 deep.
Again, man goes in motion. Quinones in trouble and is brought down. Colatrella brings him back to the 12-yard line, an 8-yard loss on the play. 2 minutes to go in the ball game. It's 3rd and 18.
Kennedy looking for a big play now. They need that big play. They have the ability to get it. This Quinones throws the ball very well.
Quinones is going to try the quarterback draw. Gets back what he lost on the last play, but it'll bring up 4th down and about 10, and Kennedy has no choice but to go for it, trailing by 4, and we have 1:30 to play. And now a timeout called by Kennedy, and that'll stop the clock with 1:28 to play. The final timeout that Kennedy is allotted is called. So now the situation is this. They either pick it up or they go home with the loss, because Colonia will just sit on the ball.
Now, we were talking about the Pop Warner teams in the town. I neglected to mention the St. Cecilia's Golden Knights, who are experiencing their 25th anniversary this year. So they've had Pop Warner programs here for a long time, and it's really
Warren Jets.
Yeah, and it's really contributed tremendously to the varsity programs, not only here at Kennedy and at Colonia, but also at Woodbridge High School. And all the sports are very, very well supported by the community and, of course, the scholastic athletes.
We are going to see the 3rd high school in this township, Woodbridge High, in 2 weeks when they take on Perth Amboy at Water Stadium. And the interesting story there, of course, is that the current Woodbridge coach, Mike Solento, last year was the head coach at Perth Amboy. He's been replaced by Jerry Yonchik after Mike moved over to Woodbridge, but he will be going up against his former team.
And he played quarterback at Colonia High School.
All in the family. All right, big 4th down and long. Quinones throwing it, and no one was there. He threw it straight down the middle of the field, and there was no one there.
There you see it. He just sprints out. He sees Young is forcing him back. He sets his feet, and he just lets one fly. Threw it, kind of a Hail Mary pass, and there really wasn't anyone there. Man was going in that direction, but he wasn't even close.
So that will do it. Bob Lanigan still yelling out the defense because he doesn't want to see another score put on the board. Wants his club to save a little bit of their pride.
He's got a double fire call. That means the linebackers are stunting and trying to get the ball, wrestle the ball out of the ball carrier's hand.
I'm kind of surprised that they even ran the ball, that Abeen just didn't kneel on it. Kennedy has no timeouts left. They can't stop the clock. And now we have an injury timeout taken as a Colonia player is down, and I think it's Bellotti. It is Bellotti who is down.
He took a good pop. He's been taking pops because they run him well inside.
He's indicating that his ankle or calf area is bothering him. Well, now they're looking at the knee. Bellotti with 42 yards today. He got hurt on this running play, and let's see if we can see him getting a pop.
There it is.
Ooh,
right at the knee.
Right at the knee.
Helmet,
indeed.
helmet at the knee. That'll smart.
That'll hurt. Eric Jefferson with the pop. Good hit, clean hit by Jefferson. Just got him at the right place. Bellotti seems to be okay. Mike Young in now at fullback, and Young gets the call. It'll be third down. Well, Colonia not looking to run the clock out in the normal fashion. If you look at Joe Martino on the sideline, went out of the game in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, when he twisted his ankle coming down after a punt.
These plays continue to come in from the sideline. I would have thought that A-Bean was saying, we'll run the clock out, but I'm giving it to these other guys.
23 seconds left before Colonia will be able to record this victory. Young stopped for no gain, but that'll be it because Colonia won't even have to run off a play. So the Patriots snap a 2-game losing streak to their crosstown rivals. And they win their second consecutive game, improving to 2-2 on the year, as Pat Barbado and his troops win today's game over Kennedy by a final score of 18-14. We'll take a short break. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. (18-14) the final score as Colonia moves to 2-2 on the season. Warren Bennett had a big part in that ball game. Warren, you returned the kickoff following that first Kennedy touchdown. Your second varsity kickoff return. Big lift at a big time.
Yeah, we needed to pick me up at that time. They just scored on us and needed something badly. And once I saw the hole, it was like paradise. I just took it down there.
Tell us about how the wedge developed and at what point you saw that there was a big hole.
Well, it's a cross block basically, and it's always there. Every kickoff we have, we usually get a good return out of it, about 35 yards, 45 yards. And this one was just wow. Yeah. So.
Well, a good feeling, I'm sure, and it gave your club a lift. Now you are 2-2 on the year. How does this win set your team up for the rest of the way?
Well, it helps us out in the white division a lot. We're 2-1 in that division. I think we're in second place. And the rest of the way, we have a shot for the playoffs now if we win all our other games.
All right, congratulations on your performance. Enjoy it, and the best of luck for the rest of the season. Now, Chris Colatrello will step in, and Chris, congratulations on your performance. Big win indeed, but a strange second quarter. A lot of points put up in a quick matter of time.
Well, I don't know. It just seemed like it was going to be a defensive struggle in the beginning, but they scored, and then we came back and we scored. They made a couple errors, and we capitalized. So.
Big rivalry between these two schools, always an important game.
Yeah, we were coming in. We were really psyched all week. We were getting up for this game. We knew it was going to be a tough game.
Defensively, you gave them a couple of touchdowns. The interception resulted in a score, and then Leonard fell on the Dandridge fell on that touchdown pass by Bajer. But pretty much beyond those two things, defense wasn't at fault on that first one. The defense played very well.
I think we held them up front very good. I don't think they had too many yards on the ground. They hardly, except for, as you said, except for them too, they hardly ever got even any yards.
All right, congratulations on your performance and the teams, and good luck the rest of the way. Now, Dave Ronk will step in, and Dave, you had a tough task today. Of course, you go both ways at tackle, and on the option offense, the wishbone offense, a lot of pressure placed on you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, today we changed the defense a little. I key on the quarterback. I go wherever the fullback goes. If he goes to the right, offside, and then I go cut across the tackle's face. If he comes at me, I go outside, and then I get the quarterback, and then I help out with the fullback.
Well, the defense worked very well. The wishbone really didn't do all that much damage to Colonia today. I want to talk about this ball club. Now 2-2, a little bit of a struggle at the start, but have things been straightened out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more better attitudes on the team. In the first two games, we had a couple mental letdowns, and then we talked to the players after practice a lot, and they have better attitudes this week, and that's what we like to say.
Well, it resulted in the win. Congratulations, and good luck the rest of the way. Dave Ronk, and now Pat Barbado steps in, and Coach, it isn't over till it's over, as they say, and it was a game you had to sweat out till the very end, but your team comes up with the W.
Yeah, it seems like the last 2 years, every game we play, it comes down like this. But, when you play against Kennedy, when Colonia plays against Kennedy, it's going to be a battle. Who's going to make the mistake the other team's going to win. And we capitalized, a couple of mistakes and, got the touchdowns to beat them. They're a good ball club, tough always.
The big drive was obviously, at least in my mind, was the one that took place at the end of the first half. You have a 12-7 lead, and sometimes coaches would like to just sit on the ball and be content with a 5-point lead, but you went to the air. Abeen had struggled till that point, but he found Link a couple of times, and you wind up with a score. Did you plan to go right off the get-go for the 60 yards in the score, or did you say, let's see if we can get a couple of passes, then we'll figure it out?
No, we had, I think we had pretty good field position on exchange. We had pretty good field position. It wasn't much time, so I figured, let's go for it. Now, we're not the big, powerful club where we're just going to grind it out. We have to use Vinny sprinting them out, and we dropped a couple in the beginning there, but Sean made the catch there, got us down to, touchdown territory.
And you took the 18-7 lead, but of course you've had halftime leads this year that have disappeared when they scored to make it 18-14. Was there a thought that, oh no, here it comes again?
Definitely. The first two games we were winning going at halftime. Last week, same thing. We fumbled right off the start, and I like to tell them at halftime, listen, hey, can't happen again. Can't happen 4 times. So, no, they hung in there, and I think defensively, defensive just played great, outstanding football. I think the coaches, especially John Piccaroni, with that defense, and did a heck of a job. They had the kids ready, and like our tackles, they getting a quarterback and fullback, the linebackers getting fullback and quarterback, and they did a heck of a job with it.
Oh, no question about it. Everybody flying around on that defense doing a good job. Congratulations, Pat, on the win. Enjoy it. Good luck next week. Big White Division game against South Plainfield.
Yeah, undefeated, right? They just got scored upon for the first time, I think, so we'll be ready for it. We'll give it a good shot.
All right, best of luck. Pat Barbado, the veteran Colonia head coach, walking away with the W. And so he has to feel pretty good going into that South Plainfield game. His defense did look exceptional.
They sure did, Matt. And remember that one of the things that the Wishbone favors, or one of the things that the advantage they get, is they force their opposition to spend a lot of time on defense. And as he said, the defensive coach came up with a nice defense, and they made defending the Wishbone look pretty easy. And that's hard to do, especially when you're playing with high school players. So I think defensively he's got a lot to be proud of. And as you said, very, very important for them going into the South Plainfield game. If they can beat South Plainfield, they're going to be in the driver's seat in the conference and even for the playoffs.
So the win sets up many possibilities for Colonia. They win today's game by a final score of 18-14. That'll wrap up our coverage of this GMC White Division game. For the Reynosos, Al, and our sideline reporter, Anthony Turk Reynoso, I'm Matt Lachlan saying so long, everybody. Junior signal caller for the Colonia Patriots. The floater is returned down to the 5-yard line, and Kennedy is knocking on the doorstep. And they will not only knock, but they will walk through that doorstep when Howie Mann scores from 3 yards out. 6:26 to play in the quarter, and the ensuing kickoff results in every coach's nightmare being realized. Warren Bennett finds a seam, and goodbye. 80 yards for a touchdown. He outlasts John Moyer, the kicker. 80 yards for the score. Second time that Colonia has returned to kickoff 80 yards for a score this year. The extra point, no good. It's 7-6 in favor of Kennedy. Now, Kennedy will get the ensuing kickoff deep in their own territory. Joe Martino crashes down on Quinones. The ball skips into the end zone, and tri-captain Dave Rump will fall on it for the touchdown. And so we have 3 scores in a matter of 36 seconds. We'll take a look at the play once again. Watch the big junior tackle smacking Quinones. The ball comes free, and Rump will fall on it as the charge of the Light Brigade for the Colonia Patriots into the end zone. And then they now have the lead 18-7. Late in the half, Colonia with the ball at the 40. A-Bean throwing, finds a wide open Sean Link, who's tackled down at the 20-yard line by Cedric Burton. And time running out in the half, but Colonia will go to the air one more time. Ball will be tipped by Rich McGlynn right into the hands of Link at the 10. Link will bring it down to the 6-yard line, and on the very next play, A-Bean will score, and Colonia will take the halftime lead by a score of 18-7. JFK will score one more time to narrow the deficit. It would come in the third quarter, and it would come on somewhat of a broken play. Quinones will step back, look deep, looking for Glenn Bajer. As he steps up, he finds Bajer wide open as Dandridge, the defender, falls down. A 49-yard touchdown pass. However, neither team was able to score after that. The final score, Colonia 18 and JFK 14, as the Patriots snap a 2-game losing streak to Kennedy. They win their second in a row on this season, however, and the final once again, 18-14. Checking out the rest of the schedule in the Greater Middlesex Conference, Bishop R was on the short end of this score, 14-3 to North Brunswick in a game played Friday evening. South Plainfield gave up its first points of the year, but came away with the win 28-6. They'll take on Colonia next week. Cedar Ridge edges Jamesburg Training School, final score 19-12. In a game played last night over at Sayreville High School, Woodbridge shut out by a score of 17-0. And Sayreville Sal Mistretta really has the Bombers going. They are 2-2 on the year and looking very good indeed. Mike Salento's club struggling just a little bit in his first year at Woodbridge. They are 1-3. Madison Central, among the best teams in the state of New Jersey, cruised to an easy win by a score of 40-7 over Edison. And Dunellen took on Spotswood today. We have this score just reported in to us. Dunellen shuts out Spotswood by a score of 40-0. Elsewhere in the Greater Middlesex Conference, in a game underway, Carteret hosting St. Peter's. Carteret looking for the win over the team from New Brunswick. It was South Brunswick over St. Pius of Piscataway, 38-0. And New Brunswick continues its roll, 20-0, the shutout win over Metuchen today. And some other notes in the Greater Middlesex Conference. This game postponed from Friday evening to Sunday afternoon. Piscataway to take on East Brunswick. And the reason the game is postponed is that on Tuesday evening, there was an auto accident involving a couple of players from East Brunswick. The reserve quarterback passed away in that auto accident. East Brunswick asked for the 2-day postponement, and certainly it was wisely granted. That game will be played, however, tomorrow at East Brunswick at 2 o'clock, but East Brunswick operating under a tragedy. And, of course, you saw the graphic indicating that Monroe was idle today. Short break here. We'll be back with more right after this.
Today, you have to stretch your advertising dollar.
Sports Scene tonight, Saturday at 8, Sunday at 10 a.m. You can catch it here on TV3.
And from the Northern Hills Conference, Millburn taking on West Orange in that very close game. You'll see this one Saturday at 10 or Sunday evening at 9:30.
And that'll wrap up Scoreboard for this evening. We want to thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday when we'll have another edition of Scoreboard running down all the scores of the top 10 and scores throughout the state. For Paul Spahala, I'm Matt Lachlan. Have a good night.